Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with the daily technical update. It is Thursday the 18th of April. It's a veggie day in our canteen, so I'm not that excited. Anyway, let's move on with ARM Holdings. Investors are not that excited in ARM Holdings either after breaking several key levels yesterday. First, the 120 level here, which is the upper part of the gap area. That has been tested quite a few times, actually been broken, but ARM Holdings managed to close above us every single time. You see tested here, tested there. Now, yesterday it went straight through, and it also went straight through the very key support here at 115.21 and the cloud area, as you can see here, where it's flat, and that's usually the stronger one, so that's really heavy. Also, we have the RSI closing below the 40 threshold, so we are actually in a negative sentiment. There is a downside potential in coming days, week. Possibly, we never know how fast things will be moving, but down to around 94, where we have the next gap, we can move that one down there. So we have this big gap here. If that's being challenged, then it will become even more interesting. For ARM Holdings to reverse to a bullish trend again, first of all, it needs to close back above 120.16, and then we are in a neutral position, and then it actually needs to break above this upper falling trend line and confirm the uptrend with break above or close above 135.41. I don't see this happening anytime soon, so for now it looks very bearish. We have excuse me, we have S&P 500 actually opened a little bit higher yesterday, but couldn't hold on, so we seems to be on the target for around 4,900, 4,953. Well, we have some support here. We also have the cloud support. We have the 100 moving average coming up, but we are in a negative sentiment on the RSI, so we could actually drop lower. It seems like May is coming early this year. I can't wait for May because it's so damn cold here in Denmark. The weather's nice, but really, really cold. Anyway, let's move on to Nasdaq. Actually closed more or less spot on 17,478 support area, but I think we are destined to trade lower here in the coming days. So let's see how the week ends. But we have the 100 moving average coming up. We also have a little bit of a cloud support here, but I think we will move lower towards the 17,000 area, where we have some support around 17,128 and 16,963. We are in a negative sentiment. The divergence here has been traded out, so that is obsolete now. It has fulfilled its prophecy. We are in a negative. Trend short term. We also stocks 50 very close to the 48.88 support area. We have the 55 moving average coming up. Also looks fairly heavy, but as you can see, there is no negative sentiment. But if it does close below 40, then we are into that, and that could occur if EUROSTOXX 50 is breaking below, closing below 48.88. Trying to get back up a little bit this morning, but I think it would be fairly here. We are in a short-term downtrend, corrective downtrend. Same picture on DAX. Still skidding off the 40 threshold here, which is pretty strong actually. If it starts moving back above 17,900 and above this trend line here, maybe it was a false break, but for now we are in a correction, and it will be confirmed if we break below or close below 17,620. Keep an eye on that level. AX was really interesting yesterday because it was primarily controlled by ASML, which we talked about during the update yesterday. Started out strongly. Buyers came in, and then it was sold out through the session, and ASML actually closed below support levels. Look out for, or check the technical update I also did in writing yesterday. The levels are mentioned in there, but that was before it actually broke below. But here we also have the Amsterdam index actually trading in this gap area here. If it does close below 860, and it's not unlikely, then we could have a larger correction with the support at 849, and then we are looking at this gap area down here. We also have still the RSI in a positive sentiment, hasn't broken below 40, but if it does close below 40, it will support the bearish correction picture. And what we can do very quickly, just to show you how our charts work, we can just say, well, this is the support gap area right there. Moving on to the CAC 40, that actually did quite nicely the past few days after being hammered here earlier this week. Now back above 8,010, little bit of a support resistance. It was a gap, so they actually, for now, closed the gap, but we are still not in a bullish sentiment or bullish trend. We need CAC to close back above 81.20. That is the level. If it does that, well, then it has resumed uptrend. For now, it's still a minor correction in a downtrend. Finally, on the Swiss market, we have dancing around the 786 retracement. Here we are in a downtrend, and I think we will test the 11,100, 11,060 support level here fairly shortly. Moving on to euro dollar, bouncing off 106, potential up to 107.10, which is a 38.2 retracement of the sell-off there. Then I think we will see downtrend resuming. All indicators pointing to lower levels. Sterling, dollar, cable also could bounce up to 125.25, which is the 38.2 retracement, but also here negative bearish trend and negative sentiment. We could see it pushing lower. It's not unlikely it can bounce higher than 125, but that is at least our first target. Dollar yen, a little bit of correction here, but still in a bullish trend. No divergence on the RSI, actually pointing to higher levels towards 155.30, maybe even higher towards 156.30, 35 level. We have euro yen. That actually is moving higher here. If we can get RSI to close back above 60 and above, especially also above the falling trend line right there, well, then we are likely to see euro yen pushing towards 166.30, 167 level. But that is the key levels to look out for. Aussie yen. Bounced off the 98 as we talked about yesterday. We are back above the lower rising trend line, so we are still in this channel wedge-like pattern. It's not it's more like a channel than they don't have to be 100% parallel. Key resistance at 100. It needs to break back above that for upside potential towards the upper part of the channel area. Sterling yen. See testing the 786 retracement at 192.75. Also again yesterday, now 3 times. Maybe it can't really break it. If it does, if it really breaks it, well, then there's potential up to around 195, a very short term. But we need the RSI to close back above 64, support of that. Aussie dollar bouncing from the 64 support key level here. We are likely to see a test of the 38.2 retracement and resistance at 64.85. That was previous a support. Now it's a resistance. Could move higher than that, but look out for that for a possible rejection. Dollar Canada. Correction time, but RSI positive, and there's no divergence. The peaks are really following nicely through here. So or is nicely aligned. So there's still potential up to 139. Moving on to the Swiss Euro Swiss. I think we'll see a move down to around 96.50, 96.20 in a correction, and then a bounce from those levels. We have taken out a little bit of support over here, so I think that will play in here the next couple of days before bounce. Dollar Swiss. Also, possibly a correction down to the 38.2 retracement and support at just around 90. We are currently below the lower rising trend line here, so a little bit of correction. We also have the RSI divergence indicating that the uptrend short term is a little bit stretched, but we can move higher after a correction. Finally, the dollar index. it peaked above the 105.96 resistance, little bit of correction, at least down to 105.30 to 38.2 retracement, but we could see it dropping down to 104.84, maybe dipping down to the 61.8, but let's see. I'm not quite sure we'll get there. RSI is still in positive sentiment. Gold has been crawling high the past few days, but yesterday it got hit by a little bit selling, trying to get back up here. So basically what we are stuck range bound between 23.19 and 24.31. Quite frustrating because it's a very large range, but we could end up trading here, actually for the foreseeable future. A break could really move it either higher or lower, but expect a lot of range trading. If it takes out, excuse me, if it takes out 2400, we could see a test of the previous high here. But if it takes out 23.19, well, expect a correction down to around 22.50. Silver, more or less the same picture really. Got rejected here at the 61.8 retracement. Needs to take out the 29.02 peak to push higher. Supported to 27.60, 27.59. Maybe copper can help, but I'm not quite sure. You can see this morning it's actually pushing higher, and I think we need to have a look at the weekly chart to see where we are going to, or potentially going to. 447, there's some resistance, and then we're looking at 457, which is the peak there, but we are in a bullish trend. So in the medium term, this is weekly chart, medium term, we could actually see it trying to push higher towards 500. So it's really strong uptrend. Again, expect some corrections on the way. Also some movements in the oil market, and we have WTI in a correction phase. Closed more or less, or just above the 82.56 support, but I think we could see a correction down to the 55 moving average, 200 moving average coming up here, and the 38.2 retracement of the entire uptrend there at just around $80. And Brent crude oil, more or less the same picture. We actually have a little bit of a very short-term double top here that has been confirmed, with a potential down to around 86, and the 786. Sorry, the 38.2 retracement is down here at. Let's see if we can see it more clearly down here, just around 84.5, 84.75. Finally, let's have a look at the US Treasury yields. The 10-year very close to the 4.70%, less than a percentage point below. Correction kicking in, possibly down to around 4.50. We have a little bit of a support just around that level, just below there at 4.74, 4.47. But we are on an uptrend, no divergence. We should see it move higher in coming days and weeks. That's all for today. Have a nice day and happy trading.